Madison, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Funk, Charlie Madison and I really appreciate your time. This video is cute and quick. This was a really easy idea, a really simple idea that's going to be easy to teach. It's going to be easy to perform. Gets a little bit tricky in the performance and the practice of making a card flick and jump away from the deck. This one is easy. You probably already figured it out from just watching it. There's nothing hidden really here. It's just a pretty little move that I used to use in demonstrations at the card table. For example, finding all of the diamonds one by one. This was one of the ways I used to find all those diamonds in my routine. So I would suggest not doing this on its own, but mixing it in with other ideas. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We're going to open up the Pink Ball Wild Reserve playing cards from my brother Bill Davies, and I'm going to wrap this thing around my head so that you can see Flick from my perspective. So this move is technically very easy, very easy. However, it's also a little bit tricky. The moment when you flick the card, the moment when it slides along the back of that deck and shoots up, you have to get the timing right. And the only way you're gonna figure this out is by doing it, by practicing, by putting time in. You're gonna get lucky a few times, especially when you first try this. It's gonna work perfectly, but then when it comes to performance, it can go wrong. So I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to teach you everything that I know about this. It's a very easy thing. This shouldn't be too much of a long video because it's such a simple move, but there are quite a few things that you need to know, especially when it comes to the performance. Now, everything about this is super easy. All you need to do is control the selection to the top of the deck however you choose. I'm not going to teach you that in this video. What, are you crazy? Control the playing card to the top of the deck. They're playing cards on top, they believe it's shuffled inside somewhere. In the video where I demonstrated this move, I spread it here on top of my fingers. So my fingers stay here, that's just so that I'm ready to go right from the beginning. When I perform this, I used to perform this for gambling routines. I used to put it into a gambling routine. An idea of finding all the diamonds one after another, all in different ways. This was one of the ways. So to do it on its own, to do it isolated is quite strange. You might want to use this in a way of maybe finding all four aces. Just throw it in there. I don't know, that's up to you. The reason I'm saying this, once you spread the deck, I like this idea that they believe the nine of clubs is lost inside. So when I spread the deck now, I like to stand back and think about this and let this image sink in, because if you do it quickly the way I did in the demonstration, then they might think logically there must have been a card sat here for it to have projected into the air the way that it did. There must have been, because he spread it and then he turned it over too quickly for me to see. So I like this moment of losing it inside. Sometimes I like this idea as well, to further convince that you don't know where that card is, before you do the spread, the idea of pretending that I've looked inside and now I'm thinking about where that card is. Now I spread and I stand back and I'm looking and I direct my eyes somewhere in the middle. I'm like looking in the middle thinking, yeah, I think I know where it is. It's all just an act, it's all the performance of it. Now, I come over here, I bring my fingers underneath here. Both hands come to this side, and now this hand kind of works its way on the table so that when I get to the top card, I can very subtly pull it or push it further away from the spread. This allows me to flick that card so it goes across the ribbon. So here's what's happening. So the card would be about here for the moment of the flick, fingers under here, and now I'm going to flick this card, and I'm not trying to be secret, I'm not trying to hide it, I'm just flicking the card. So over here, from the table, like this, and the card propels, spins across towards the edge of the deck. But for now, let's just focus on the main one, which is in the middle. And all these things that I'm telling you, all these little, like flicking it from the sides, this is going to come with practice. You're going to learn the most from practice and trying this. Ideally, you want to be flicking it right in the middle, because this causes it to travel like this rather than spinning away. If it's got a spin to it, then there's a chance that it's going to spin out of control. You don't really want that. You'll find if you flick it over here, it's just going to lose its, thanks Charlie, it's just going to lose its lose itself on the journey somehow. So I try to flick it in the middle every time. Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, I know that there might be a few people watching who don't even know how to do this, the wave. I believe it's called a wave. I always call it a wave, which is basically the spread deck turnover, which looks like this. Easy. I think I just taught it to you. Basically, spread the deck, lift this card, press it down, and the entire deck turns itself over. I've seen a lot of people doing this, like carrying it with a finger. I guess kind of a pretty looking thing, but for this, we definitely need a lot of pressure at this point. We need it to happen fairly fast. This is what's going to cause the card to shoot into the air. We want to time this so that when we flick the card, which we'll get to, when we flick the card, we want it to travel about here before it goes up into the air. So once it gets here, we want our ribbon spread, our wave to be here, so that this card can do this, so that it can go up and work its way above that. And the only way that we can control the card going up into the air rather than over this way or over this way too much is just by timing. And this is where the practice, this is where the difficulty comes in. Ideally, you want the card to go into the air, and with this hand, the hand that turns the cards over, comes over here and catches it. Now, if you look at the motion of this hand, it starts here and then it presses down and it's coming this way. So it's naturally making its way over here. And you find that with good timing, once you press the bottom card, once you push it, causing that ribbon spread to wave over, your hands come in this way at the right timing to catch that card. It just kind of works out. So the nine's here. So you see your hands already in this direction. When it comes to catching the card, you don't want to look like you're chasing for it. You don't want to look like you're really reaching out trying to grab something. It wants to look quite graceful, or as graceful as possible. Now, get into the flick itself. It needs to be further away from the deck than the rest of the cards. So the discrepancy is going to be this. We're going to see more of that second card than any other card. Obviously the top card is revealing itself. And because of that, because we see the full image here, it kind of doesn't make a difference when we see more of the second image, more of the back of the second card, because it looks quite uniform. So I've never been caught out with this, and I used to do it a lot in gambling demonstrations, and people would always ask the method for this one. How does it jump out of the middle? Despite it feeling and looking, especially on film, it looks obvious. It looks, you can tell how it's done on film, but in reality, in real life, in front of somebody, especially when you're directing them to the middle, the way that I'm pretending to look for this card, everybody's looking over here, and because everything kind of happens at once, the flick goes unnoticed. If anything, because you're turning the cards over here, this is where the mystery is all of a sudden. So everybody looks over this side towards the middle. This side's kind of off limits. Nobody seems to look over there. So at this point, we want this card to meet the wave about here. So it's all down to timing, it's all down to your practice. And there's not much else I can teach you about this moment, because it's just something you have to do. If I show you this, that was perfect. I managed to flick the card so it arrives right as the wave hits the middle, and that's what you're aiming for. If you do it too soon, if you flick the card too soon, obviously it's not gonna it's not going to hit the wave at the right point. And if it goes too far over here, it's going to go in a direction that you can't control. You want to be able to control it so it's directly in the middle, so that you know where you're going to have to catch that card. When it comes to the catch itself, you don't want to have to be chasing. And even that went a little bit wrong, but it felt okay because my hand was already coming in this direction. The one thing that's going to help you the most with this is the pressure that you turn those cards over in the ribbon wave, in the spread wave. At this point, the amount of pressure that you put over here, that's going to cause the trajectory of the card, that's going to add more pressure to the card on its way up. It's going to force it into the air a lot more, but obviously it's all going to depend on how well you flick this card and how heavy you flick it. If you flick it gently, then you get a tiny little jump. It kind of just jumps over the wave. More importantly, you can see exactly where it came from. I know that you already know how to do this now, the rest is down to practice, but I do want to give you a few ideas. Try this with 4 of a kind. It does take a little bit more practice. I'll show you with the aces really quickly. You have to do a little bit extra work when it comes to that point, the point of spreading, because all these cards have to be on top. All 4 aces have to be on top together in a clump here, so you can flick them all at once. It's achievable, and the way you do it is by simply having a thumb break. So you get a thumb break at the back of the deck like this. So from the front you can't see that. Now when I come to spread the deck, all the cards remove themselves from my fingers during the spread, and I'm left holding just the aces. This allows me to control those aces and put them down instead of spreading them. So I spread and now I put them down at the end. Ooh, that was quite pretty actually, an accidental catch all stood up. So yeah, you can experiment with this, try it with maybe a sandwich idea. Speaking of sandwiches, the next 2 videos are all about sandwiches. I think I've taught you enough about this. Let me know in the comments if you struggle, and I'll see if I can help you somehow. If you use this in the socials, I say this every time, if you use this in the socials, don't tag me, because it just brings your audience to me where they've discovered a method, and that's bad for magic. Outro. That was Flick. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Daniel Madison. I've got some dope tutorials on the way, including a few pretty little neat sandwich ideas, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so you get that notification bell going ding 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 every time I drop a new tutorial. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel Madison. See you next time.